Hi, welcome to Trixie's Travels. I'm Tracy.
And I'm David.
And today we're coming at you with our top 20, actually we've only done 20, camping campgrounds. We want to give you our information of the last 15 months and what we liked about each campground and what we didn't like about each campground. We bought our first camper in July of 2020 and our first camping trip was August of 2020.
So,
in the RV.
So, the last 15 months, we've gone to 20 campgrounds. Here are the 20 that we've been to, and we're going to state some reasons why we like it, why we don't like it.
By the way, we do have this listed down in front of us, so you'll see us look down a couple of times to make sure that we're giving you all the information. We're going to start at number 20, and that is Clay County Recreation Park in North Carolina.
Yes. So this park is located at the North Carolina-Georgia line. So it's basically between Hiawassee, Georgia, and Hayesville, North Carolina, on Lake Chatuge.
Mm-hmm. This campground is sorely in need of updating, so it made number 20 out of 20 on our list because of the state of the campground. It is on Lake Chatuge, as Dave said. It is gorgeous up there in the month of October, September, when the colors are changing. It is in the Smoky Mountains, and it is absolutely stunning sitting on Lake Chatuge. However, because of the condition of the campground, the condition of the bathrooms, the condition of the dump site, Dave and I felt like this was the least favorite campground that we had been to.
Correct. I mean, it appears that this particular campground was built in the 50s. The bathroom facilities, I mean, they had wooden doors over the shower that were warped. And for me to use the dump facility after, on the way out, we had to take this great big loop just to come in and be lined up with it. So, because it's on Lake Chatuge, there's all sorts of places where you can rent boats, jet skis, and that particular park, you can park your boat on the beach.
Also in this campground, it appeared to be a lot of folks that stayed there indefinitely for long periods of time. So there was a lot of rigs that were sitting empty, under tarps. So it just wasn't a very scenic campground to us, although, as I stated earlier, it was in the middle of the Smoky Mountains. We had epic sunsets and sunrises daily. That could not be beat. So in at number 20 is Clay County Recreation in North Carolina. Number 19
is High Falls State Park, Georgia. And this is close to where we live. And I believe this was our first campground. So this is the first campground with me pulling the camper. It's just run down. I mean, it's probably our least favorite state park in Georgia so far. And I mean, it just needs a lot of love. It just doesn't have a lot of love. So the sites weren't that great.
Not a lot of shade.
Not a lot of
which
shade.
Is important if you go during the summertime.
And it's really kind of chopped up as far as where the sites are available. And it wasn't graded very well. So I mean, it's just for Georgia State Park, it definitely is at the bottom of the list.
Coming in at number 18 is Fort McAllister State Park in Georgia.
This one is located on the coast next to it's located close to Savannah. Mm-hmm. It's probably 15 minutes away. It's a real quick trip up to Savannah, and it's really sandy, which of course you're on the coast. So, but
makes for a dirty rig.
It was kind of hard to get in our campsite. There is a pay-for museum on site. I mean, it was the site of some battle during the Civil War. I really couldn't tell you much about that.
Sites were very shaded, had lots of tree canopies.
Yeah.
The raccoons are rampant in this particular park.
They're like,
and they do want to come out, and if you feed them, they will stay around. Yeah. They'll hang around. So that was kind of cool. The bathhouses were all in one with the toilet, shower, and sink in its own separate separate room, which I actually like because you feel much more safe in one of those particular locations than you do, say, in a bathroom that's open to anybody being able to come in. So this had a lock on the door. You were able to take your shower, use the restroom, use the sink, and then leave, and you had that privacy all to yourself. So I love the bathhouses.
Also, if you're gonna go someplace and you're gonna stay in a cabin, this would be the place to stay. I mean, the cabins they're on the water. They overlook this inlet, and it's very nice. So that was Fort McAllister State Park. Number 17 is Chattahoochee Bend State Park, and that is I guess the nearest largest city is Noonan, Georgia. It's our neck of the woods, and it's a brand new campground. So as far as all your facilities, as far as your bathrooms go, those are nice and clean and
Large size.
Large sites. If you have youngins, they've got 2 playground areas, and they have one. It's a rope structure, and
It's kind of a jungle gym.
yeah,
type
kind of a
thing.
jungle gym. And our grandson just loved it. So
Close to home. So
it's
you
close
can-
to home for us.
Yeah, you can take your grandbabies easy, especially if they have school.
There's not a-
Chattahoochee Bend is on the river, but the campground itself is not on the river. It does have hiking, but it's not phenomenal hiking. It's just basically walking in the woods. So to me, there are other campgrounds that offer a lot more amenities than Chattahoochee Bend. It's just a nice place to go, but it made it number 17 on our list of 20.
Yes.
Number 16 on our list of 20 is White Oak Creek Campground in Eufaula, Alabama. Our second
road trip, and this is a
Second road trip.
yeah, this is a Army Corps of Engineers campground, and it was our first. So, you know, I would say Army Corps of Engineers has most state parks beat. I mean, the sites in the Army Corps of Engineers are huge. Most of them are on the water. I mean,
It's very scenic. It's very relaxing. There's not much to do there. In fact, it was difficult for us to find any type of water,
like boat
crafts,
rentals,
vehicles, for us to enjoy the lake. Obviously, the lake had boating and jet skiing going on, but we could not find anything in the area to rent. There was a couple of things on Google, and when we go there, they were closed.
So
Number 15 is A.H. Stevens State Park, and that is in Georgia. Stephen is a campground that's small. I think it has about 25 sites. It does have a lake. There is easy access to biking here, fishing. It does have a playground. It's just a small park.
yeah. So also, so if you have horses and horse trailers, they have has a place where you can camp
Equestrian.
with your horses. Yes. As far as things to do, unless you're willing to go, like to Augusta, to the Riverwalk down there, this is one of those campsites where you just gonna kind of sit here and you're gonna sit at your campsite and you're just gonna enjoy nature and the persons around you.
Nice big sites, flat sites. Like I said, there's only 25, so it's been a lovely, it's a lovely park to get to, just to get out in nature and relax.
Yes, nice park.
Yeah. Number 14 is Indian Springs State Park in Georgia.
So this is going to covetail back to the High Falls State Park. This park is within 5 or 10 miles. And once again, this was one of the original, I think it was the #1 state funded park back in the 30s. It's a CCC park as well as A.H. Stevens and High Falls. It was done by the Army Corps of Engineers, the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 20s. So, you know, that's what makes it really unique. On site, there's a spring here. It's a natural spring, and this water bubbles up, and people line up and fill up their water jugs.
I think it's for the sulfur.
Things for
You
sulfur.
Definitely can smell
Oh
it.
yeah, you can definitely smell the sulfur. It has a falls, a little river going through it, and when the river's running, all I can say is step on the dry rocks, because if not, you're gonna bust your butt.
I think
Ask
you
me
said
how
the
I
black
know.
rocks. I think it was the black
Well, I'm just
rocks,
saying-
and he couldn't step on the brown rocks because he did bust his
Yeah.
butt in front of our grandchild. He thought it was funny.
He thought it was, quite hilarious.
But it is kind of fun for kids. We did take Miller with us, and he had a great time. There's exercise equipment, that's still exercise equipment. There's hiking, there's the water. It's just close to home. It's not very far. So it's a lovely little park.
Yeah, there's a little reservoir where you can rent paddle boats, canoes, kayaks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little jungle gym play area for kids.
Shaded sites.
Sites are really nice.
Sites are nice. All right, number 13 is.
Number 13 is, and we just recently been there, it's called General Burnside Island Resort Park, and it's in Burnside, Kentucky. If you're gonna stay at this park, I would definitely recommend that you stay, because there's probably 15 or 20 sites that are full hookup. And those are the sites that you wanna stay in. It's an older park, and some of the other sites aren't level. And I mean really aren't level. Some of the water hookups can be 50, 60 feet away from your rig.
Yeah. Our site was number 1, which is near the playground, and it also had a sandbox. We had so many flies at that particular location. There were some cats that were feral running around there, so it was just noisy. I would not recommend site number 1, but I would recommend, as David said, do a one with full hookups. Because it makes it to where the water at least it's a nicer site. You won't be searching for your water. Yeah. There's waterfalls around there. You've got Cumberland Falls, Eagle Falls. There's all kinds of hiking. We went to the Natural Arch, which was gorgeous. You'll see that in the video. We also took a historic train ride to a mining camp, which was really, I mean, the train itself was old. You get on there and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, this is going to get us down. But it was a really wonderful ride. You should give that historic train ride a try.
Yeah. Went to Natural Arch. Is it Natural Arch?
Natural Arch.
Yeah, which is pretty neat. Mm-hmm. So.
Also, the only activity at the campground was golfing. If you want to bike around that campground, it would be a moderate ride on your bike because of some hills.
Yeah. So that was General Burnside Island Resort Park in Kentucky.
The number 12 spot is Bill Frederick City Park at Turkey Lake in Orlando, Florida.
So here's, I mean, this is to me a convenient site. This is the kind of campground that you want to go to, knowing that you're not going to spend any time at the campground. The site we had, and it was barely big enough for our rig. What was tough was parking our truck that night. It was so bad that we didn't even set up our chairs because really there was no space to set up our chairs. And so
this campsite has so much opportunity. Sorry, honey. It is central to a lot of beauty in Central Florida. You have Blue Springs nearby. We have Waukee Springs nearby. Winter Park, Florida. Windermere, Florida. Disney Springs, Universal Studios.
I believe it was less than a 5-minute ride to Universal Studios. It took us 18 minutes to get to Disney Springs. It took us 45 minutes to get to Blue Springs. Is that how you say it, Blue Springs?
Blue Springs, yeah.
Blue Springs. Of course, Winter Garden, Orlando. It was 25 a night, full hookups. And the graving...
in the Orlando area.
Graving. The saving grace for us was we left in the morning and we came back at night.
Because there was no shade. We went in September. It was quite hot. Because you're in Florida. The laundry wasn't working. The grass was not mowed. The pool is a city pool, therefore all people can come to this city pool, so it's not private to the campground. Our sites were on top of each other, so when you walked out our door from our RV and the guy next to us walked out his door, you basically met. It was tight. But for $25 a night,
full hookups.
We were gone the entire time.
Yeah.
We would, even though this campground needs a lot of help, we go back just for the cost and for the fact that it's in Central Florida and it's so convenient to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have walking trails that would follow the lake. So,
frisbee golf, a petting farm that didn't seem to have any animals.
Yeah.
Easy to bike. It had the community pool, so it had a lot of amenities. It just wasn't taken care of. Number 11 is James H. Sloppy Floyd State Park in Georgia. Which is near Rome, Georgia, and Berry College. It's up there in the mountains, and it is gorgeous.
Yes.
Small park with only 25 particular sites, but the actual sites themselves were pretty large. We were able to get a tent, an RV, a Jeep, and a truck in our particular site, and we had a picnic table to boot. So the sites themselves are nice. It's just a small park.
Yeah, I would definitely go back here again. Had hiking trails. They had this cave that you hike back into that was really nice. There's a lake there that had all sorts of water activities, paddle boats, canoes, stuff like that.
And because of the hilly structure of the park, it would make it difficult to bike, but not impossible.
Yeah, I mean, you'd really have to be somebody who's done it for a while, not an old guy like me.
Number 10 is Hamilton Branch State Park in South Carolina. And
this park is on Lake Strom-Thurmond, and I liked it. She liked it. The only thing about that, now granted, this was the only spot that I saw like this, but the water was on the opposite side
of the rig.
Of the electric. But
In our site, not in all the
yeah, I
sites.
mean, I didn't see it anywhere else. But the site that we stayed at was wonderful. I mean, it was right on the water.
We stayed at site 89, and other than the water being on the other side of the rig,
Yeah.
all the sites appear to be
I was
on the
definitely,
water.
yeah, probably 40 yards to either site. I mean, just
You
massive.
could not see your neighbors.
Massive.
It was really nice.
Really nice. I mean, so. And also, this park has a lot of buddy sites. They share a same entrance off the main road, off the main loop road. You get into your site and it turns 90 degrees left and right.
It's a
And
T, basically.
It's a T.
Gorgeous sunrises, gorgeous sunsets. They are very large sites.
Yes.
They have 150 sites total. David mentioned the buddy sites. They have boating activities. It's very crowded during the summer at this particular park. The campground itself is easy to bike. They have playgrounds and they have hiking and all the boating activities because you are on the lake.
Yeah, lots of day use areas. The facilities, the bathrooms and showers and stuff look clean.
Yeah.
They were well maintained. The staff that worked there was extremely helpful and
Yeah.
courteous. So yeah, this is another place where if all you want to do is hang out in your campsite and just chill, this is a great spot.
At number 9 is Magnolia Springs State Park in Georgia.
Yeah, this is in Millen, Georgia. I liked the park. It was the sites were pretty good sized sites. I mean, you weren't right on top of your neighbor. It looked like the facilities, as far as the bathrooms and stuff, were
New bathhouses.
new bathhouses.
It's a historic site
a historic
with
site.
a site of Civil War POW camp there.
Yeah, I
so
think
that was very interesting
I think
to
it's
David.
called Camp Lawton. There's no buildings. I mean, basically what you see is little mounds on the ground where the barracks used to sit. But it was a POW camp during the Civil War. The campground itself is pretty nice. You have some day use areas that have these warm springs. You are not getting in them because it is full of alligators. We saw a couple alligators and it's full of turtles. Very beautiful. I mean, it's crystal clear, that bluish green tint water. And so it was quite pleasant. Nice little hiking trail. wasn't very hilly. Nice little walk through the park.
You can canoe, you can kayak,
Yeah.
you can hike, and it is an easy to bike campground. And at number 8 is Reed Bingham State Park in Georgia.
So this is located in, what's the name of that town?
Adele, Adel, Georgia.
It's just a little jewel. It's about 6 miles off of I-75 South, and just a nice little park that you wouldn't ever think would be there. Nice facilities. Let me tell you something. If you decide to stay here, Site 11 and Site 14 is the sites to get. So,
Right, so I was going to say that this is a very scenic campground. Most of the outer loop of the campground is in shade, but if you were to get an inside site of that same loop, you're going to find most of those sites are in the sun. Particularly at this campground, you can boat. It has a playground, it has miniature golf, and it is easy to bike. Also, outside the gate of this particular campground,
I was getting into
is the
that.
Catfish House.
So
and it's delicious.
Adel has all of the fast foods off the highway. But let me tell you something. We've convinced my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, her sister, to go down here just for the fish house. I mean, the hush puppies are fantastic. They're probably the best hush puppies I ever had in my life, and I'm gonna drive down there and spend all that money in gas and everything just for the dang hush puppies. So if you go to Reed Bingham, you have to go to the Catfish House. I mean, it was just fantastic.
And at number 7 is FDR State Park in Georgia, which is about an hour away from our home.
Yeah, so this is around Warm Springs, and for all you people who know anything about FDR, this is where he passed away. And this is where he would go to for his treatments, for his polio. So the camp,
Very historic.
Very historic. So the site, the particular site we stayed in.
I think we were in site 113.
Yeah.
Sites were good size with foliage, providing some privacy. However, as David said, if you get to the sites near the water, you're going to be more of a tent site. Although it does provide for smaller campers, you tend to be more on top of each other.
Yeah.
Here at this particular park, you can hike, you can boat, you have archery, you have swimming. It is a hilly campground, so it's not easy to bike, although it can be biked. And at number 6 is Petersburg Army Corps of Engineer Campground in Georgia.
So this particular site is off of Lake Strom Thurmond, across the lake from Hamilton Branch. Army Corps of Engineers, you just can't beat them for size. I mean, they're huge. Almost every site is directly on the water. Army Corps of Engineer parks, I mean, if you can manage to get a hold of one, man, they're just so nice.
It's very scenic. You're able to swim at this particular park, boat. It's easy to bike. It's relaxing. The sites are huge, as David said, with lots of privacy. So we really enjoyed Petersburg Army Corps of Engineer.
Yes, nice park.
Number 5 is Hamburg State Park in Georgia, and Dave's probably most relaxing site.
Yes, so
Quiet.
I'm trying to remember the name of the
Alligators.
Tracy will put the name down here. So anyway, yeah, so it was. It's another one of those older parks. There's an old like mill on site, and we were at a buddy site. Then it just so happened that the people that were next to us were just fantastic. You know, she was a retired vet, and I'm a vet, and we just sat back and we just had the greatest conversations. But the park itself, and we had a little pet alligator who would come by, and I think he wanted to eat our Pomeranian.
This is one of those sites that I would recommend that you look at the map of the actual state park prior to going, because while our neighbors were lovely, when they sat out at their picnic table and we sat out at our door, you could see each other. I mean, we were so close. It was clearly meant to buddy. We did not know them, so you felt like you were in their space. I'm sure they felt like they were in our space. So just look before you book at this particular campground. But it was so serene. Like David said, we had an alligator that we could see coming up, back and forth coming up to the edge of the water. So that was always our entertainment. We were there 4th of July, and because our neighbor was a disabled veteran, we were unable to shoot anything off. I don't know if this particular park does that every July 4th, but they came around, reminded us not to shoot anything off because she was actually a POW for a small amount of time over in Iraq. So either she said something and they were honoring her wishes, or Hamburg doesn't allow that on July 4th. So it was peaceful, serene. We absolutely love that park.
It's definitely someplace I would go again.
In at number 4 is Moccasin Creek State Park in Georgia.
So this is off of Lake Burton in North Georgia. And it is a small park. I think it's the smallest park in Georgia, 25 spots. And it takes approximately 4 minutes to walk around the whole park. Seriously.
I don't think we tested that.
I don't think we timed it, but I mean, it was like, yeah, I mean, an egg wouldn't have a time to boil by the time you walk around that park. It was small, it was quaint, it was cozy. I would definitely go there again. It's a gorgeous campsite, and even though you're on top of one another, it didn't necessarily feel like you're on top of one another. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, hard to explain, but
it's a scenic location in the North Georgia mountains that has hiking and boating and fishing. There are wineries around there. There's all kinds of shopping with antiques and all kinds of places to eat around there. It's an easy to bike or campground. And as David said, it is right on Lake Burton. They have swings that sit there and look at the lake. It is a gorgeous scenic site.
Okay, so Black Rock Mountain State Park is 15, 20 minutes away. And it's the highest state park in the state of Georgia with fantastic views.
Right.
So if you go here, you have to go to Black Rock Mountain, go up to the observatory, to the visitor center, and I mean, it's just gorgeous.
And we highly recommend you make this reservation in the month of October here in Georgia. That's when it's most beautiful.
Yes, so this is definitely a return.
Moccasin Creek State Park in Georgia. Number 3 is Vogel State Park in Georgia.
Yeah, so the top 3, those things, I mean, they all are number 1 in their own way.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, it's really hard to say this is number 1, this is number 1, or this is no. I mean, Vogel is number 3, and for any particular reason, it's in the North Georgia mountains. The park itself is. You're gonna have water. Now, when I say water, I'm talking about a creek. You're not on the lake, so you got these streams behind you, and it's just so relaxing.
Open those windows.
Open those windows.
Listen to that water run.
This may be a great park for us because we brought our grandson, and he had just the most wonderful time. He was a fish. He never wanted to leave that stinking creek, but me and him put our puddles on, and we tromped around in that water, and he just had a great time.
We went in April of 2021,
Oh, yeah, it was chilly.
and it was very cold up there. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours away from our home, and it was the first weekend in April. Still cold up in that area, but it was, as Dave said, very scenic. We had water behind us in a creek. It was a great location to the North Georgia mountains and towns within that area. You can go antiquing, you can go apple picking. Helen, Georgia's nearby, Cleveland, Georgia, Hiwassee. All of those are near that particular area. It is a great location for kids. It has a huge swimming lake, all kinds of hiking to do up there, waterfalls. And in fact, Vogel is in the top 50 state parks. It might have been the number one state park.
I think it was number one for a while.
In the nation.
There's a place called DeSoto Falls. It's about 20 minutes away, and it's a U.S. Forest Service site, part of the National Forest that's up there. But they have picnic tables there where you can make a day of it. There's a little stream that you cross over a bridge, which was kind of cool. Once again, the grandson, he wanted to jump in. He didn't have his puddles on. His feet got wet. He wasn't happy. But anyway, that being said, fantastic place to go, Vogel State Park.
Yeah, it has boating, hiking, mini golf, swimming. There are wineries nearby. It is not easy to hike as it is mountainous, but it is so scenic, and we recommend you going, especially if you could during the fall here in Georgia. If not, anytime at Vogel is gorgeous.
Yes.
In at number 2 is Fall Creek Fall State Park in Tennessee.
This is a great park.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I think we've said this before, it took us an hour to back into this park, only because of the position of these trees. It was just like, if you park this far back, you're gonna hit this tree, you can't open your dang slide. You park over here, you're not gonna open your canopy or your awning. And so, I mean, it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So with that being said, that particular spot wasn't the greatest, but it was level. I don't think we had to adjust the level.
This particular campground has 5 different campgrounds, and if you were to pick campground B, those are the ones that are larger sites, a little bit more privacy. We happen to be in campground D, so our site was a little bit more compact, a little bit less room. Although the park itself had free Wi-Fi, it had 222 RV sites and 30 backcountry sites. It has epic hiking where we were able to go to 3 different waterfalls. We had full hookups because we were there for the week. So it was an amazing campground.
Yes.
You have zip lining, horseback riding, there's a tree canopy challenge there, there's golfing, there's hiking, there's swimming in a swimming pool.
Yeah, there's a little village that they have there
Yeah.
that has that your camp store is at, and then they have like an outfitter store for.
And those particular amenities is why this actually rated a little higher than Vogel. It has a lot of laundry services. It
Yes.
has a little pool house with a cute little cafe. It has a full pool. It sits on a lake. It has the free Wi-Fi. It has a store that has almost everything. In fact, there was nothing we couldn't find at the store, including all-purpose seasoning, salt.
I mean, hey, there was no Walmart run.
Right.
So that's what makes it so nice too.
There were great bathhouses. The sites were close to each other in Campground D where we were at, but I would recommend you going to Campground B if that's where you can schedule.
Yeah, so definitely a must do, especially October, November.
Okay, in at number 1 is Fort Wilderness Campground in Disney. Of course it is. We're Disney fans.
We're Disney fans.
This was the most expensive campground we've ever
Oh, yeah.
stayed at. Disney does charge a premium price for a premium product, but it has full hookups, 799 campsites, free Wi-Fi. You're on Disney property, so it's festive. People are having parties at all times, especially during the holiday. You can rent golf carts, there's horseback riding, there's swimming. Of course, the Disney parks are nearby. There's a dog park, there's nature trails. You have access to Disney transportation, including buses and
The boats.
boats. They have large clean bathhouses. It is an amazing campground.
Yeah, I mean, so you just can't compare it to a state park, to a Corps of Engineers. You go to Disney for a reason. So it was cheaper than a hotel room, but you could spend a whole day at the campground.
Yeah, you don't have to go into Disney.
Yeah, actually, what's crazy is you don't even know you're at Disney until they have fireworks at night, and you go down to the beach and you go watch the fireworks. So it's just one of those campgrounds. Yeah, there's a big sticker shock, but man, there's so much to do there. I mean, you have two stores, you had 2 pools. There's places to eat on property, or at the campground, and I mean, you can just spend your whole time there and never set foot in the park. You're definitely not going there to sit on your dang chair by the fire and chill out, because there a turkey might come walking up to you and look at you, or a deer. Bambi will come in your sight and kind of hang out and chill with you. So this is definitely not a place to go to relax. Really, I mean, you can be relaxed there, but it's not a place where you're going to sit up by your campsite. First of all, it's Florida, so unless you're there those particular 2 weeks where it's chilly, you're not going to have a good time sitting out there. You're going to be sweating from every pore in your body. But most of the sites are pretty shady. I don't think we had a problem at all trying to keep the rig cold.
I agree. Definitely a must-do if you're a Disney fan.
Correct.
Definitely a must-do if you're a holiday fan where you decorate for Christmas or Halloween. They do it big up there. Everybody that stays in those campsites. So it's definitely a festive vacation that you don't even have to go into Disney.
Yes.
So that's our top 20. Dave
Top
and I
20.
have been camping now in our rig for 15 months.
And we've been to 20 spots. So
and we've been to 20 spots.
we think that we've done pretty good.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the next 20. We want to keep having fun. We want you to keep watching and having fun with us. We are empty nesters who are out just enjoying the rest of our life. We hope you join us. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up.
And subscribe, because that would be wonderful.
We'd love to have you here.
That's right.
Thank you for watching.
All right.
Have fun, guys.
Bye.
Bye.